blessed evening to everyone back at home, those who are listening to us via Bold Moves Radio, those who are watching us on our Facebook channel, Bold Moves Radio, and those who are on the YouTube channel. You are welcome. It's a blessed evening tonight. You are with myself. I'm Rhulani Baloyi. The show is Prudent Woman, coming to you through Bold Moves Radio every Sunday, 6 o'clock until 7 o'clock. Tonight, it's a wonderful evening because we are celebrating Women's Day. I would like to say to all the women, Happy Women's Month. All the women, from the youngest ones, because our young children, they are women in their own right. It's as that they're still trapped in a small body, but they are women as well. I would like to say Happy Women's Month. Tonight's show, it's all about looking at a woman. Tonight's show, it's all about looking at the different experiences that some of the women have gone through to encourage you, our listeners, everyone who's listening to us, to look at the life experiences of these women and be able to rise up. If you were down there asking yourself, is it worth it? I would like to believe tonight, at the end of this show, you'll realize that you can make it. So I invite all of you, be with us. You're going to be learning. We're going to be enjoying ourselves, sharing experiences. And I invite you, our listeners and viewers, please interact with us through WhatsApp messages to 081-358-8745. And those who are watching through the YouTube channel and Facebook, you can drop your comments or your questions on the comment section. Before we start with tonight's show, I would like to appreciate our executive producer, Pastor Strike. Pastor Strike, thank you so much. You are such a blessing in our lives, because even last week you were able to stand in. Pastor Strike last week was a prudent woman. And I would like to believe all of you who were tuned in to listen to the show last week, you were empowered. And you looking forward to having a great time on the 20th of August as we host the Limpopo Gospel Divas at Farm Life. It's free of charge, so invite your friends. We'll talk about it during the course of the show. But as for now, I would like to invite you, introduce my guests tonight. What a wonderful list of ladies that we have. We are going to have a real talk. We do not have a professional or a specialist tonight, but I invite you. We are going to be learning from the different experiences that these ladies who are around this table tonight will be sharing with us, and how they've overcome to make sure that they are not allowing circumstances, not allowing society, not allowing even their loved ones to define who they are, but they were able to define themselves and knowing who they are. For they have been created by God, and there is a plan for their lives. So I invite you. We have tonight, I would like to invite Mama Sateke. Mama Sateke, you are welcome. I would like you to introduce yourself. Let me tell you, our listeners, tonight, I want our guests to introduce themselves the way they want everyone to know them. Because tonight it's about self-worth, not allowing other people to describe you, but describing yourself. So Mama Sateke, I would like to invite you. Introduce yourself the way you wish people should know you.
Thank you. Hi, ladies. I greet you in the name of Jesus. Ke tlo le dumedisha, ke le tsebisha le nna hore ke nna mang. Nna ke Mary Sateke, ke nyetswe ga Sateke, ke ngwana Mathabata. Nka tswela pele ka ke theta, fela nako ha e dumele. Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mama Sateke. Mama Sateke has got a great story to tell. Believe me, I have had time to sit under her sessions where she was talking about what she has gone through. I invite you. At the end of this show, you will realize that it's possible to rise up and continue with life. I would like to invite Bomakadzi Itani. This one, a name is Bo Itani Pungo, but the stage name is Bomakadzi Itani. So those of you who know her as Bomakadzi Bo Itani Pungo, tonight you should address her as Itani, Bomakadzi Itani. That's her stage name. Bomakadzi Itani, I invite you. Please greet our listeners and introduce yourself the way you wish for us to know you.
Good evening, Prudent women. It's an honor to be in this show. Yes, I'm Makadzi Itani, as many know me as that, but I was born Itani Pungo. I'm a, what can I say? But I want you to know me as a fun person, a person who loves life. Whatever I will tell you today, don't put a stigma to me. I'm a person who's full of life. I thank you.
Thank you, Bomakadzi. We are here to demystify such things as putting a stigma towards a person based on their experiences. So tonight, I am sure all of us ladies who are listening, at the end of this show, you'll realize how wrong it is to place a stigma against someone just because of what they've gone through. Moving right along, I would like to invite Seshezi. Seshezi, you are welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to all the ladies as we celebrate Women's Month. My name is Sindisiwe Shezi. I am a daughter, a sister, a mother, a bubbly, outgoing person who loves life. And I make friends easily and I just adapt to any situation thrown at me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, I can attest to that. This woman, I work with her in another department, but we became friends. I don't know how we connected. Just over a plate of lunch, we were able to connect. And I now know her life story because, you know, at times we keep our testimonies to ourselves, not wanting to talk about it, to release it so that it can heal another person. We appreciate you so much, Shezi. But I almost forgot. She's a PK, this one. So as she's talking, you should tune in. If there are PKs amongst us, just listen. She'll be talking to us because some of the things that she went through was mainly because she's a PK. You know how society is. We immediately want to judge her, not based on who she is, but based on who her parents are. Last but not least, my young mother, says Pumla, mother of the boys. Can you introduce yourself the way you wish for us to know you, not the mother of the boys thing? That is ours. How you want us to relate to you.
Thank you so much and good evening to you, Mrs. Baloyi, and the Prudent women, the viewers and the listeners. My name is Pumla, as it has been already indicated. I am a woman. I love to introduce myself as a woman. I am a woman who wears many hats, but above all, I am a woman who is a child of God, totally in love with God, and I am a learner. I believe I'll be able to elaborate more on that as we continue, but I am a learner. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Viewers, I'm sure by now you have realized that these ladies come from different spheres of life. As they introduce themselves, you could hear there's a vast experience that they will be bringing in. I want us now to get into the matter of the day. I should declare we may not be able to get all of them to talk about their experiences in detail, but I invite you throughout the month of August, we'll be talking on different issues that affect women, because as Bold Moves Radio, we saw it fit not only to celebrate women and just say, you know, Happy Women's Day, Happy Women's Day, and giving you flowers, but we saw it fit to have sessions where we're going to empower women, where we're going to talk about those difficult situations that face women and find solutions within ourselves so that a woman should be liberated. we cannot just continue and celebrate people that we see ahead, celebrate people that we see have got great challenges that are facing them on a daily basis, but we turn a blind eye and only just say we are celebrating. But as Bold Moves Radio and Prudent Woman, we saw it fit. Let us get and empower each other. As our show says, we get ready, we get information to be able to respond appropriately when that season comes. So I invite you, there's testimonies of these women may not specifically be relevant to you today, but it can be relevant to a friend, a relative, or it is something that you are heading towards because you never know what life will bring. But I always believe if you know things, when it comes, you just pull out that file and respond appropriately. Ladies, I want to invite you. Our show tonight, we say we want to talk on how women should not allow society, should not allow other people closer to them to determine who they are. I want maybe two of you to just share with us what is it that you understand by self-worth or self-esteem when relating to a woman. I am inviting any one of you, anyone who wants to come in. You are free to come in. Yes, Boitan.
Markets.
Oh, Makads. Oh, Makads.
Yes.
Yes.
I think self-worth, it's all about how you see yourself, not comparing yourself to others, not allowing the situation to define you, but the confidence, your values, how do you stick out even when the situations are not allowing? How do you spring back to your own position? It's not to be determined by lack of maybe control, being able to control yourself. Self-control, it must be there. The confidence, it must be there. How do you see yourself? You mustn't lose yourself because of the society, how the society see you, but how you yourself see yourself. What do you stand for? Who is Makazi in this life? So I think that's my take for self-worth.
Yes, I see. Bo Mama Sateke, you want to come in?
Yes, I just want to say to the ladies that don't let anyone to define you, and don't let situations define you. Everyone has his own way of life. Everyone has a destiny. You must know where you want to go. You must understand yourself first before you can understand other people. What do you really love or want in life? It's very important. The very thing that is very, very important is that you shouldn't forget that God says his ways are not our ways. So who are we to define the ways of God? God will define your way, and my way is not Makazi's way. My way is not Eshe's way.
Yes.
Everybody has his own way. And all these ways, they are there to glorify God. Nothing else. Thank you.
Yes, and yes, says Shezi.
I think also just trying to push out the negative, because you grow up and you are told so many things that demean you. You are told that you are incapable of doing something, and somebody sees your self-worth and it's below than what you aspire to be. Knowing your truth and owning it, because nobody can ever take that away from you. And if you're unable to find your voice, find ways of expressing yourself. That's another thing, because not all of us are able to speak.
Yes.
When we encounter situations, but find your voice. It could be through music, through writing, through poetry, but find your truth, know who you are. And your circumstances will not define you. Where you come from does not always determine where you're going.
No, that is so true, you know. So self-worth, it's all about what you knowing who you are, understanding yourself. Says Pumla, I want to invite you as a young mother. We tend, you know, to have this description as women mainly. You know, if there's an enemy for women, it's mainly women.
Yes.
We are the culprits. We are the ones who tend to judge each other. You know, sometimes we will describe ourselves based on 1, 2, 3 and all that, but it mainly starts with us women. I want to invite you, says Pumla, just share with us your story around finding your own self-worth and you being a young mother, a young stay-at-home mother, whom I so much admire to have been able to do what you do, still run your own business.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Baloyi. Let me just start by also giving my point of view when it comes to self-worth. So for me, I think self-worth begins with recognizing, acknowledging, and embracing your uniqueness. I believe all of us, we have been created the way we have been created for a reason and for a purpose. So I think for me, that is where self-worth began. That is where I began the journey of liberation when it comes to understanding who I am as an individual, which is exactly what I teach those who I have an opportunity of mentoring. So I think it begins there, and it begins there. And you have correctly said that, you know, as women, we tend to label ourselves or even label each other based on circumstances around us. I said in the beginning that I like to introduce myself as a woman before anything. I wear many hats. I am a wife, I am a mother, I am a teacher, I'm a lot of things, but above everything, I am a woman. And I think that is where my identity stems from. I like to say being a woman is a position that God has decided for us. It is not something we go to school for. It is not something that we acquire through anything. It is something, it's a position that God decided for us. That is why I believe it is the most powerful one that I choose to identify myself with. Now, I have been privileged, and it will shock you why I say privileged, to not be much on the favorable side of things most of the times, which obviously has the potential to sort of call on different labels on you. But I think for me, being the learner that I am, I did say in the beginning that I consider myself a learner, hence the brand Learn, Change, Become. I think that has helped me to learn to understand myself better. I say I have been privileged to be challenged a lot. One area that I did not really struggle in is marriage, because I got married when I was quite young. I got married when I was 26. But now, being a young woman who is married, I don't know who puts that order, but somehow we assume the moment you get married, the next step must be children. So for me, I got married and I did not have kids for 5 years. But the funny thing about the whole thing, as much as the pressure was a lot, the frustration was a lot on us as a couple, the funny thing about it is the first 2 years, it was not part of our plans to have children, honestly. Yes, because the pressure kept mounting up as the woman, then I began to change my mind some way. But honestly, the first 2 years, it was not part of our plan. So the waiting was just the 3 years, honestly. But I struggled a lot with identity during that time, because you find yourself in settings where maybe, for example, Mother's Day used to be such a frustration for me, because you don't know how to act. You know, are you a mother? I remember one year it was Mother's Day, I was at church, and mothers were asked to come to the front to be prayed for. And that time I didn't have a child. And I went, and a sister in the Lord literally laughed at me. And I understood that, oh, maybe I didn't get it right. If you don't have your own biological children, then you are not a mother, you know. So I think all those experiences for me is what empowered me to actually, instead of being hurt and now sit down and say, this is not for me, those are the exact experiences that helped me discover myself. Because I had to sit down and ask myself, since I don't have children, then what defines my womanhood? since I don't have this and that, what then defines my womanhood? Another title that tends to follow women is, are you employed or not? Now, being one who is not in formal employment, also, again, it disqualifies you from a lot of things. You know, maybe I must just also clarify a bit the stay-at-home mom part. It is not something that was just a decision to say, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, because, you know, most times we're just labeled, this one is just lazy, this one is just dependent on the husband, this one is just this and that. But it is, I was actually listening a couple of days ago to Jay Shetty, and he was talking about looking at your life in different phases and stages, instead of looking at your life as one big thing, as one big scene of life. Now, I think that has defined a lot of things for me personally, because how it started, it was an issue of purpose. I left the workplace to go and discover myself. Now, in the process, just when I was actually planning to go back, then the kids came. Then we decided as a family that rather you stay for a couple of years to raise the children. So I always say to people, I've got two positions besides the business side of things. I take care of my children and I raise my children. Those are two totally separate things. It's not the same thing. I raise my children and I take care of my children. So it's true. Then my prayer request was something else before I had children. But let me tell you, if you want to attach all these things to your womanhood, then you become lost. Because what used to be my prayer request then, now that I have children, the very same answered prayer become my prayer request again. Because now as a stay-at-home mom, my hands are full, my house is dirty, but above everything, my heart is fuller. So as much as my hands are full, but my heart is fuller. So there's a lot of things that make up that personal identity that we can say now becomes my self-worth. But above everything, for me, it has been identifying, embracing, and acknowledging my uniqueness as an individual.
Wow. That is so powerful, says Phumla. And I'm sure someone is listening. They were in the same position as yourself, and they felt they are not worth. But taking time, as you say, to define yourself and to be able to find out who you are takes one a long way. You are able to realize that the position that you are in should not determine who you are, but you stay to be true to what you are. I love what you have shared. And, you know, we are guilty, a whole lot of us, because for one, I would like to say, when I got married, there was no time to even think that there must be a time where I say I want a child or not. I allowed society to define it. So me being married meant I must have a child. And I admire you for that. I've always watched you and I said, this young woman, she knows who she is, because you waited and said, I know when I want what. And you did not allow circumstances to define you. Most of us, we allowed circumstances to define who we are. I would like to move to the PK. Says Chezi, you know, this woman, her story, it's something. She's a professional, by the way. She's in managerial position, but I know there's a whole lot of us whom God has blessed us so much in that area to be managers, to be well-to-do financially. You know, you have your freedom, but we allow society and even our loved ones to define us. What will you like to say around that, says, even as you share your story?
Oh, it's a lot, really. It is a lot, because it makes you contemplate a lot of things and you are in conflict with yourself. Even if you know you want to do something, you know it's not always up to you, because you're always at the back of your mind wondering, what is society saying? What are people going to say? What is the congregation going to say? Like you're saying, I'm a pastor's child. And you take all of that into consideration. You look at the dynamics of your family. You look at the background of your family. And before you take a decision, you have to kind of go back and say, okay, in my family, who's done this? Am I going to be the first one? And you know what's coming if you're a trendsetter. And it's not necessarily a trend, but it's what you want, because you are finding yourself, you're finding your voice. So that's, I think, the biggest struggle that one faces. For me, I got married like Phumla, I was 25. And then 8 years down the line, I'm getting divorced with 4 children, my youngest being 8 months at the time when I filed for divorce. So you kind of, even before you take that decision, as much as you're like, okay, you know what? This institution is no longer for me. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go somewhere else and find myself and explore what else can I be? Who else can I be? What else can I achieve in my life? And the kind of mother that I want to be to my kids, I'm definitely not going to gain it in this institution and with the person that I'm with now. So that conversation, when you think it in your head, and you're like, okay, now I need to go tell my parents. And you look at your parents' dynamics, and you're like, whoa, you know, a child from a mission is getting divorced. You know, so those things, they will make you sometimes stay in an environment that you don't necessarily want to. What is the congregation going to say? My father's going to be standing up there on Sunday preaching and encouraging people and telling them about marriage and the challenges and the beauty, but your daughter's getting divorced.
Yes.
So you are in constant conflict with yourself and you don't know what to do and where to go. Because you know, even sometimes the advice that you are going to be given, it's going to say, remember who you are. Remember the family that you come from. Remember where you are born. So it's not about me, what I want, but it's about where I'm born.
Yes.
My family, who are they in society, in the community, within the congregation. So it comes with its own challenges and a whole lot of dynamics, and it's not nice. It's really not.
So you see, you have loved ones who are supposed to assist you in life, in finding out who you are and building you. But it's such a sad thing that our loved ones becomes the ones whom we are not able to convince, in terms of who we are. They are the ones who judge you. Says Shezi, I loved what you shared with me before we started with the show. How you overcame the issue of your loved ones judging you in terms of you taking that decision. And for me, I felt that is something that is lacking because we just allow our loved ones to judge us, but we forget one thing. They judge us because they wish for the best for us. At times, you need to help them to understand where you are sitting, the situation that you are going through. I loved what you said before you could exit your marriage. You sending that video to your dad.
It was a voice note.
A voice note.
Yeah.
And not saying anything to him, but sending it through. Can you share with us? Because for me, that was very powerful to say, instead of saying my parents are saying I must stay in the marriage, you found a smart way of making sure that they understand where you are.
Part of that reason why sometimes our loved ones find it difficult to believe what we are going through, we keep quiet. I'm one of those people that I kept quiet. And I would constantly make excuses for why my partner was not there at the time. If it's a family function, it's a family gathering, it's an event, it's a wedding, whatever it is. If he's not there, I would constantly make excuses. So I never told anyone what was going on. By the time I finally voiced out what was happening, I'd already made up my mind and I did not want to be convinced otherwise. Now with parents, they must do their due diligence. Call your husband at the time, have family engagements and discuss if maybe they cannot be a way forward. They will tell you, think of the kids, because now you are making a selfish decision of breaking up your children's family. But I was no longer there. And that incident, my ex-husband at the time came back home drunk and the setup had become toxic. I'd already filed for divorce, but we were still living under one roof. And, someone will try and demean you and tell you, you're going to be nothing without me. Where are you going to go with 4 kids? Who's going to love you? I made you, so those kind of words that come to you. And one day he came home and I could hear the car coming into the driveway. So on my phone, I just pressed record because I knew it was coming. I'm sleeping in the middle of the night and a person will wake you up so vigorously and so violently. And the things that they are saying to you, it's going to be difficult for your parents to believe you. So I just pressed record. And in that moment, he was even threatening to kill me. And because in my head, I'm like, okay, this person has friends who are SAPS, and sometimes they'll forget their service pistols in the gun. I mean, in the car. Maybe he's right. You know, they'll say a drunk mind will speak a sober mouth.
Yes.
So maybe let me take him serious. So I recorded that conversation and then I sent it to my dad. I knew he was sleeping, but I knew he would hear it in the morning, and I didn't say anything. There was no message. There was no caption. And as soon as he heard it, he called me and he was like, my child, come home. Because he wanted me to come home alive. He wanted his grandchildren to be home alive. So in that moment, I realized, okay, I've just put my parents through something. Now I need to stand for what I've started.
Yes.
So again, you go back to being at self-conflict with yourself. Am I making the right decision? Because now I'm putting my parents through a whirlwind of stuff. So those are some just the challenges that one goes through.
But that was bold, because I ask myself, when they listened to the voice note, they were able to get the confirmation. But from your side, we know most of the time it's difficult to make life-changing decisions, because then it meant you can't go back. And that is the one area that makes women to not rise up. Once situations have been defined, you feel that's the end. Mama Satere, as the eldest amongst us, I believe you've gone through these experiences, even if you did not go through it yourself, where you have to take a decision to leave a marriage, and you know how difficult it is. What would you like to say to Sis Shezi?
I would like to say to Shezi that that was your way. The divorce line was your way. God wanted you to go through that valley. He wanted you to come. Today we are here sitting, encouraging other ladies. That was your way. With me, I stayed with my husband, not working, for more than 11 years, sitting on a wheelchair, washing him, giving him food, because I understood who I am. Otherwise, I couldn't go through that valley. Before I can even go to that valley, I was a married woman with full experience. God blessed me with 3 beautiful, handsome boys. I was Mama Lebogang, Mama Tsepo, Mama Matlatsi. Those were the names of my kids. And sometimes when things happen to us, especially we Christians, we start to say, no, there's something wrong that he has done. This one,
yes,
she must just confess. I by that time, I knew how to pray. I knew how to fast. I know how to tithe. I was doing everything. When these children were sick, going to the theater and all this, I was there as a mother, praying, fasting. But God wouldn't teach her I must seek him first, the kingdom of God, and everything shall follow. And that everything that shall follow, I don't have any control over it. I don't. He has control. So I've lost those 3 children, but I'm still standing. And I believe now I have more than 3 children, because I can go anywhere. I can do anything for any child. I've got many child, unlike that 3. So really it was an experience to me. And I'm happy because it wasn't so difficult.
Yes.
People who know me, they will tell you that this lady won't come to you and cry. This lady, you won't see him crying. But it was not me. It was him.
Yes.
He wanted to show the people that this is possible. It's not that you have sinned because of 1, 2, 3, 4. No. It's about him. It's not about you. It's about him. He wants you to show the people that he is alive. He can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you.
Now you have a fuller heart, as Pumla says.
Yes.
And when I listen to your story, what baffles me, it's you were so bold. Because in most times, as I said, it's normally women who crucify each other. I would like to believe women and your loved ones. Some of them were saying, leave this man. How can you look after someone for 11 years? Because, you know, the nature of human beings is that it doesn't matter what you do, they will always find fault.
Yes.
Should you have left your husband and say, I'm going to go continue with my life, I have things to do, they were going to complain. If you did not leave him, they will complain to say, why are you stuck with your life instead of leaving him and continue with your life? But I love your story, Mama, because you were able to realize that that was a season and you needed to respond appropriately during that season. And even when God took away the 3 sons, you were still able to rise up and say, I'm still a mother. Just like says Pumla said, someone said, laughed to say, why are you going in front? Because you're not yet a mother. Because, Mina, I come from a school of thought that says, you are not a mother because you have given birth biologically.
Oh, yes.
And the world will be a better place if all of us women, we could realize that I'm not a mother because I have given birth to this child. When you see a child, you must extend the motherly love because God has given us that and be able to raise that child. The world will be a better place to live in. So, and even yourself, Mama, I would like to believe you having realized that I've lost my 3 biological sons, but I can still be a mother. That's why your heart is full. I would like to believe. But can you imagine if you had said, I've lost my children, I'm remaining here. I will let my situation define me. I don't think we will be knowing you, Mama Sateka, like we know you. The public grandmother that you are, you know, and always teaching us as young women, because someone who's heartbroken, someone who does not know love cannot extend that. You cannot give something that you do not have. We appreciate you.
Can I say something?
Yes.
The other thing that makes me to wipe up my tears and let me stand up. I was mourning my second born child, and a sister bigger than me came into my bedroom and says to me, how are you? I said, no, I'm fine. I envy your tears. I said, how? This lady says he envy my tears. What? I said, no, I envy your tears because you know how to be a mother.
Yes.
You know how to fall pregnant. You know how to raise a child. You are fulfilled. You are a mother. What about me?
I do not know.
I don't know. And there's nothing that I've done wrong. I've saved myself saying that I want to have a child at the year 2024. But now I'm 50-something years. I don't know. I even pray to God, say, God, please just make me pregnant. Let this man make me pregnant and deliver this child. After delivering him, you can take him. At least I will have that experience. So you see, when I say your ways are not my ways.
Yes. And we tend not to appreciate what we have, mainly because I don't know, I can say we elevate our troubles and close ourselves out and not want to listen. Because every time I've realized when you're going through stuff, you look next door or listen next door, you find that they are going through worse than what you are going through. So what I want to say, prudent women, is that where you are should not define you.
Amen.
If we can just agree tonight, all the women listening, where you are should not define who you are. We are halfway the show. I would like us to go for an ad break and we'll be right back.
You will agree with me that we hardly celebrate women in music. When women are celebrated, you look at albums, most of them, women are in the background. You will agree with me that we hardly celebrate women in music. When women are celebrated, you look at albums, most of them, women are in the background as backing vocalists. But Papa said, I want us to celebrate women who are in gospel music from the province of Limpopo, hence the name Limpopo Gospel Divas. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I officially unveil the lineup for the inaugural Limpopo Gospel Divas 2022.
Bold Moves Foundation celebrate women in style as they bring you the first annual Limpopo Diva concert, Saturday, the 20th of August, 11 o'clock sharp at Farm Life. Come and enjoy live performances dished out by our very own divas, Matabo, Nunki Koma, Hawelo Kekana, Newi, Cairo, Tusonel, Rifilondo, Shibulbulomo, and many more, powered by Bold Moves Radio and Sampra.
Streaming 24/7.
24/7. Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Africa, nakupenda sana. Oh, Africa, nakupenda sana.
Tonight, we are having a real talk with our wonderful ladies as we celebrate Women's Month. I see, says Doris here saying, she kept quiet to protect her loved ones. And that's what we normally do, thinking we're protecting them.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the very people that you think you are protecting, you are actually hating them. Should you have come out, they will so much appreciate you having come out because they will be able to assist you. They will be able to help you deal with what you're going through. But when you keep quiet, you leave them in the dark. And in most cases, you involve them at a very late stage where they will forever blame you for not having come out. I would like to come to you, Bo Makadzi. Just share with us what you have gone through and what made you to be able to stand up and be a blessing to not us, the few people who know you. I know you have touched nations by your testimonies.
Thank you, Sister Rhulani. My testimony, you know, it's an hour, more than an hour testimony, but I'll be brief. As many knows, or I'm living with a health condition. To be just a straightforward thing, I'm HIV positive for more than 2 decades. But other than that, I've gone through all the stages of grief, the denial, the anger, the shame, the guilty, the depression, until I reach the acceptance where I can even be the help to others. And one point, I always say, if somebody asks me, how did you come to reach that stage, that to come out? I said, my mom's prayer. I was lying on a hospital bed, dependent on oxygen, already written my funeral program and prepared my family, but not telling them what is wrong with me. But my mom refused, and I could even still hear her words saying, Mudzimu wanga, mwana wanga ukorotola, this blessing is cold, please revive it to be hot. From that moment, I said, I'm going to live and I'm not going to die. And I'm talking about the time when it was still very difficult. There was no medication. I'm talking about the time of beetroot. If you guys remember the beetroot time. Yes. I'm talking about that time, and I'm a nurse by profession. I'm in the hospital. I see my colleagues dying every day, my friends, my family, everybody just dying. But by God's grace, God spared me. That's why I say I'm a kept woman. And it comes to a point where I disclose to my friends and my colleagues, but I couldn't disclose to my family because they take me as the anchor. Like when I started nursing, my father just passed on. I think I was 2 weeks in nursing and my mom never worked. So I took the ready-made family I was the breadwinner of the family. So that time now you are diagnosed. I can't tell the family what's going on with me. But I was saying, let me just die. They will have my pension to survive. But my mom's prayer changed all of that. I came out. Then 2005, the treatment was there. I started treatment. I'm starting treatment where my CD4 count was 3. I mean 3, 1, 2, 3. And in a government, you were supposed to be only started if your CD4 count is 200. So 3, it means you were dead. You were not even supposed to be resuscitated. But my doctor and I, we agreed that we are going to try this new treatment. 3 months down the line, it was 76. Another 2 months down the line, it was above the 200. So I'm a miracle. Yeah. My life is just a testimony itself. And the support that I got from my friends by then and my spiritual parents, I was not yet at Mana by then. It was so much that they know the time that I must take the medication. They will call to pray with me, to take the medication and all. And that medication, it was not good. Yes, it was helping to improve the CD4 count, but it has a lot of side effects. Yes. At one point, I wanted even to give up because it changed my shape. It changed me. The Itani that people know, it changed me totally. That's why now I'm saying I stick to Makazi because that's the Makazi you know. You don't know the Itani. The Itani, no, the figure lady, no, it's not, you don't know. So, so I went through all those stages. I supported. Then once I started treatment and I see that I'm improving, I make an appointment. I don't know if my pastors remember, I make an appointment like I'm going for counseling to Pastor Strike and Mama Julini. By then she was not yet ordained. When I get there, I shock them to tell them, look, I am HIV positive and I have this burden that I know there are so many people who are like me, who need help.
Yes.
This is my proposal. I want to help in church. 2005, I just moved to Mana. In 2004, I gauged the situation. I saw the openness of our dad. I saw how will she receive this thing. The two jump in. They were my biggest supporter. Then they will even drag people by hand to come to me for counseling.
To come to the meetings.
To the meeting, then the support group was started, and he will cater for us. Mama will drive us around. We had so much fun in that support group. We have people that were also supported us. And today I always tell the people that were in the support group that you are all well. You no longer know Makadzi. You're no longer crying.
Yeah, because it's only when we come out and speak about our testimonies that we are able to minister to other people. Maybe tonight, Makadzi, let me tell you something. You have always looked at me and said, I used to be like you, And that statement, you don't know how much it has done to me. When I get to the shop, most of the time, certain things do not fit me up or down. You'll understand.
Yes.
And I'll be so grumpy about it. Why this body? But every time I remember what you said, I said, it means my body is good. If Makadzi can keep on saying, I used to be like you and I wish I could, then someone wish to be, to be where I am. I cannot be grumpy about it. And I appreciate it because it's you having come out and say it that made me to appreciate, and it made me to build my self-worth. So you see, ladies, how we can build each other. It's not about going to a person and saying, the dress does not suit you. But if you feel you can advise, you can nicely say, I have seen certain place where they sell very nice dresses and your body is so beautiful. It will fit that shape. I see one of our viewers, Makadzi, saying, all her life, she has heard you talking about your involvement on hem of his garment. And it helped her to understand that there is no need for stigmatization, because if you could come out and say it, why hide away? And most of our people have perished. It's sad because not only issues of HIV and AIDS, we have our loved ones who hide away, even when they have things like cancer. I will think maybe with HIV and AIDS is because we were so blind that time. We thought only a person who sleeps around can get HIV and AIDS, and it's not true. That is not true at all. So there's a lot of myths around it. But we still have people, our loved ones, whom we lose because they've been diagnosed with cancer, for instance, and they keep quiet, saying, I better die. And should they have spoken, they will be in a position like yourself. You are here now, you are able to help other people. You are here now, you have started a ministry, hem of his garment. And you are here, all of us look at you, even myself. It was my first time to see someone bold enough to stand before a congregation and say, look at me. This is where I was, and this is where I'm going. And you are living a fulfilled life. You have seen your self-worth because you are here in this world. What if you were called to this world to be what you are? Yes. God had to use you through this status. And we stigmatize it, That is so sad. We should be able to recognize that the challenges that we go through are there for us to be able to find our ministries. Because if you haven't gone through something, how can you talk about it? And if you allow people to make you to sit down, how can you be able to stand up in a pulpit and talk about what you have gone through? So we should learn to use our experiences to change other people's lives. I love how you are sharing your stories, ladies. And our viewers keep on saying that they appreciate your stories. They are making them to want to rise up. Some of them say they've been quiet, thinking they must protect other people. They've been quiet, thinking what society is saying about them is the right thing. But tonight, through your stories, ladies, they're able to see that you don't have to wait for the society to define you, but define yourself. I would like to get back to Says Pumla. Hello, Says Pumla, you are here?
Yes, I'm here.
You are here. I would like to come back to you and just find out, as a young woman, how did you change the attitudes of those who are around you?
I think for me, Mrs. Baloyi, like I was saying earlier, I have been privileged to be one who loves to learn. So I obviously, I was not always like this, but I read a book a few years ago titled The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And one of the 4 agreements is, it's about embracing your uniqueness and not taking things personally. So I think that is where my journey of not being so much concerned about how do I change how people see my life as an individual. I think that is where I got the liberation. But I think more than anything, those who we go to the same church will remember a few years back as a young person, I can't even remember if it was 2013 or 2014, I was privileged and trusted by Pastor Joylene to share a message. It was during Youth Month. And I shared a message titled Guard Your Vision. You know, you won't believe, I shared that message as a young person. I was very young then, but that message became the story of my life. Trust me, to this day, when I go through challenges and I consult God, He takes me back to that message. It literally became the story of my life. I went through what Joseph went through. And I did not understand even when I was sharing that message, because God just lays a message in your heart and allows you to be his mouthpiece. But then literally it became the story of my life. Still, I did not understand when I had to get married, and the only family that I had at my wedding was my mother and my siblings. It was very painful at that time, you know, being a young person, disowned. It was not nice. But I did not understand what that season was there to teach me. It taught me resilience. The very same resilience that I had to learn through that negative experience is the same resilience that keeps me going today. So that's why I said earlier, I learned, don't look at your life as one scene of living, but look at your life in different stages. Because then it did not make sense to me. But now when I look back, I see, had I not gone through all that I went through, I wouldn't be able to stand today. When I was in the waiting period, if I did not have the resilience that was developed out of a situation that was not nice, I wouldn't have been able to stand. So I think being one who loves to learn, it has helped me a lot to learn how to overcome being a people pleaser. Because honestly, if we can just be direct about it, the reason why we carry the burden of wanting to convince people that even my life is valid, even the way I am or where I am, being a young person who's not employed, I'm still a woman enough. The reason why we want to keep convincing people is because we are people pleasers. And why are we people pleasers? It is because we have not embraced our uniqueness. Because honestly, because of the negative experiences that I've had throughout my life, it has taught me how to respect other people as well. To me, whether you are a working mother or you are a stay-at-home mom, it's the same for me. Because now you can look at me and say, but people her age are occupying such and such positions. But the truth is, there are certain things that I do, you as a working woman, you might not be able to do. So it's just about people being in different stages of their own lives, and their lane is their lane. So I don't think much of the focus should be on us helping people overcome or change their attitudes. What we need to change is our own attitude. And that is where we begin now to master our own selves. And when we have mastered our own selves, we're able to embrace our uniqueness, which is really the secret to life. For me, honestly, that is the secret to life. I'll just give you an example, Mrs. Baloyi. I am a woman I think it is said that flowers, I don't know how they put it exactly, but flowers are a woman's best friend. I am a woman who does not like flowers. My husband had to learn early in our relationship that I don't like flowers. Does it mean I'm less of a woman? It does not. I am a woman who is more natural. Does it mean people who wear makeup and put on weaves are not women? They are women. But for them, that is what resonates with them. This is what resonates with me. So I don't think we should be concerned about, no, this person is less of a woman because of this, because she occupies a higher position at work, because this one is a stay-at-home mom. I just feel if we can all just embrace our uniqueness and focus on our own lanes, life becomes more beautiful. If I'm standing in my corner and making it shine as bright as possible, you are standing in your corner. I believe that is the solution to the social ills that we are suffering today. I believe womanhood is individual. Womanhood is not a corporate thing. Everyone is their own being in their own corner. And if we can allow people that freedom and that liberty, then we free ourselves and we also free other people. So I think that is where freedom comes in, honestly. Let us not be concerned about changing other people's attitudes. Let us be concerned about changing our own. It has worked for me, and I believe if we can all adopt it, it can work for all of us.
Wow, that is a mouthful. It's about you changing your own attitude and being content so that you can have a full heart. Don't copy what other people are doing. You know, I'm one of those. I don't even value birthdays. I don't value anniversaries. My husband has never come to me and say happy anniversary, and I've never been angry. Even if he wakes up in the morning, it's my birthday. I'm not having a problem. And I have told him what's important is to communicate to those who are around you so that they know. Those who are very close to me know that with birthdays, I'm not fond about it. Fortunately, God saw that I have that problem and gave me a daughter who filled that void, you know. She came in and she knows all the birthdays of the whole, everyone in the family, and even people closer to me. If you receive a gift from me, it's normally coming from her, not from me, because I will have forgotten, and she will say, no, give me money, I'll order on Take a Lot or something, you know. So we all have to identify who we are and be content. Yeah. That is very important. If you are not content, you live a very empty life. I love what you said, says Pumla. Says Shezi, you said when you were sharing your story that your husband said you are nothing because you have 4 children. Who can look after you? Who can want you with 4 kids? I can just imagine. And, you know, me, because it's not being said to me at that time. Our listeners and viewers, I just want to indicate to you, our executive producer has given us extra 15 minutes. So the show will end at 7:15. So 7:15. So just hang in and listen to the ladies as we round up. For me, will be, you see how wrong society is and people around us. When you have given birth to children, someone says you have been devalued. I would have thought you are now worth more because you brought life, you know. Now someone is saying you have been devalued.
Yeah, that's true. He forgets, you know, anybody that puts you in that situation, that they didn't make you. When you met me, I was not a child sitting at home. When you met me, I was well into my 2nd year of studying towards furthering my education and developing myself. So I don't understand how then do you make me? So because you know somebody didn't make you, then you don't allow them to break you. And it's the whole thing that we've been talking about, the whole stigmatization around society. Because now you're a young person and you're a divorcee. Oh, wow, she's divorced with 4 kids. For me, the biggest people that have had the biggest opinion about my life and my situation are people who've never gone through it, are people who've never experienced it, are people who don't know marriage, have never even been in a marriage setup. Because even if you're living with a partner, it doesn't mean you know marriage, because that comes with so many things that are entangled together. So that's another thing, because you are scared of what people are going to say, because they will have the biggest opinion about you. Why would you leave your husband with 4 kids? Okay, so if it means if I had 1 child, I would not go, or I would stay. What does that mean? A child is a child, whether it's 1, 3, 4. A child is a child. You need to get out if a situation is toxic and no longer for you. And again, you know, wearing your ring and now having to take it off.
Yes.
I think that's like the biggest thing. You can go through the process and finalize your divorce and people don't know about it. But now you have to come back and take off your ring. And that's when people will then know, oh, okay, something is going on. I saw her and she's no longer wearing her ring. So, you know, so it's a lot that you go through. And again, like Pumla is saying, know your worth, know your truth and own it. And you don't need to justify or explain yourself to anybody. And rebirth comes from tragedy. We've all experienced tragedy, whether it's losing a parent, a loved one, or a divorce, a death, any other tragedy. That is where you are then born and find yourself. You have to then do a self-introspection and reevaluate and say, okay, what do I want? Who I am? And then that is when you then, okay, know which direction you want to take. And then a rebirth is done. And then you find your voice, you find your truth, and you own it. And you don't need to defend it or explain yourself to anyone. And you don't need to justify anything, just as long as you know that what I'm doing is right for me. And again, you know, protecting our families, it's because you are taught if your husband is giving you problems, don't come to us as your paternal or maternal family, because that sore is going to be there forever should you guys decide to rectify things and fix it. So you at that constant contemplation, because again, if you speak too prematurely and you guys resolve your issues, what then happens to your family? How does he then show up at family gatherings? So it's that back and forth that you have. So that is why for me, I kept quiet up until the stage I knew I don't want any convincing. I'm done. I'm going because it's no longer for me.
And that was bold of you. You know, as they say, if only we could look at the actions of the animals, we will learn a lot. They say an eagle always looks for storms. You know, what you are saying, what you have gone through, it helped you to move to another province. Yes. And you moved to another province. Yes. Shezi did not say she's originally from KZN. And I loved the decision she made. When she went through the divorce, she said, I need a new, you know, setup. I start afresh. And she moved to the province. And she's such a blessing to us in the province. And so out of that storm came out a great testimony and something good to the province, because now she's part of the provincial government. So you can see, as long as you allow yourself to go through this storm and come out still sane and understanding who you are. And I would like to say, you know, I've realized and noticed that most women, the reason we go through depression, especially when it comes to relationships, is because we want to hide. I'm scared of the people must not know. Mina, I have adopted a statement. I always tell those who come to me, I say to them, you did nothing wrong. If your partner maybe is having extramarital relationship, you did nothing wrong. If there's anyone to be blamed, it's him, because he was not true to the vows that he has taken. You must start there. The minute you start blaming yourself, you say, maybe because maybe, then you will go through depression. You need to appreciate and say, I did nothing wrong. I'm still worthy of being a woman. It's his choices. He has chosen to do what he's doing. He must own up to it and make a decision. Either you stay or you go. Yes, of course, we'll always say you need to stay, because it's a good thing for children to be raised within a marriage and for marriages to exist, because that's what God desires of us. But it should not define you. Mama Satek, as we go towards closing, having been in this discussion with us young women, what will you like to say to us in terms of how, as this generation, we tend to look at things, how we allow all these things, you know, social media and a whole lot of things to determine who we are. Because I think in your era, it was simple. People look at you looking after your husband, but it was they will have to talk physically, or even send letters or phone calls. But today, if now my husband is seen at Savannah with a lady, even if it's just a friend, it will be on social media. People don't even mind to take a video of them. Pictures will be flying. So we get depressed because of that. What would you like to say to us as women in terms of such influence, which tends to cause a lot of heartache, which tends to destroy our self-esteem.
Okay, thank you. I really feel pity for you, young mothers and young girls, because of this social media thing. But the social media we cannot remove.
It's there.
It's there. We can't say, no, don't come.
Because there are other good things out of it.
Because out of there, there's other good things. So the best thing is for us to find ourselves, to know ourselves, and to define ourselves, not according to the way people see us or the way things are done around us. Know yourself. Because even if they can see your husband at Savannah with another lady and post it, if you know yourself, you won't even make noise. You know yourself, you know what you want. You'll leave him to come home and sit down with him at the right time, not at the right time. You know the right time. You know when he's happy. You know where you know what to do to get through him. So wait for that moment, and then he will explain. No, that was a friend, and even if he lies to you, believe him. Because it's for your own good.
Yes, at times,
yeah. Even if he lies to you, just believe him and be free. Because if you can start doubting, start looking there and there, going there, calling, looking into the phone, seeing that you'll see the number of that girl or whoever, then you are in for a surprise because you'll be depressed.
And you find that the lady is not like me and Pumla.
Yes.
Makeup and a weave.
Yes.
She has got the Brazilian hair.
Yes.
The makeup.
Yes. Then you start comparing yourself with that.
Then self-esteem is gone. You know, you start to doubt yourself.
Start to doubt yourself. So be yourself. Accept what God has given you. Nurture it. And nature yourself as a woman.
Yeah, no, that's true. Self-doubt comes with a lot of things because even when you're going through the process of divorce, with me, I had 4 minor children and the legalities involved in the process because you have to involve the family courts, social workers, they have to interview your children. It's brutal.
Yes.
So it's all of these processes, again, that I put in place that are meant to protect us, that will sometimes victimize you. And then you just decide, you know what? I'm quitting the whole process, even though you still know you don't want to be in that setup. You don't want to be in that environment. But when you look at the whole legal process, you know, my children now been taken to family court and you sit down with my kids. You're asking my kids, who do you want to live with? Do you want to live with your mom, with your dad? You know, that process. So the legal part of it as well can be an influence without family. So it's a lot for a person to go through. It's a lot.
You need to be intentional about finding yourself, about knowing who you are. Because there's just a whole lot of things, distractions along the way. I think that's what I'm getting. As we draw close to the end of the show, Boma Kadzitani, do you have anything that you want to leave with the ladies?
What I can say is run your race. I can't remember which year it was, but during our ladies' conference, there's a pastor who preached about a script. You have your own script that is written. So it's your own race. So I don't run Rhulani's race, but I'm running my own race. And I say, I love life. Whatever life throws at me, I still love life. I tackle it and I move on. I don't dwell on the challenges, but I said, no, you came for me to move a step ahead. What I can say, it's all about know your stand. I always say, I pray very hard, I work very hard, and I live very hard. I live a life to the fullest. I don't even say, no, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't be here, I can't be there. Like now, you know, I'm on a solo vacation. I just do it. That's my life. I love life.
I know. I love you for that. You know, this woman can go on vacations. And that's what makes her happy.
Yes.
Some of us who have never even taken ourselves out, you are not showing self-love to yourself, but you expect someone to show you love. How can you be able to identify love if you have not given it to yourself? You can only identify something that you know. In those words, we still have a lot to talk about, but I would like us to end here. Ladies, it was wonderful to have you joining us on this show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimonies. We would like to invite you once again to the Prudent Woman as you continue to give advice to the ladies so that one day when the situation comes, they can be able to pull out the file and respond accordingly. To our viewers, our listeners, thank you so much. We will be with you again next week, same time, same place. We invite you throughout the month of August. We'll be talking on issues that are directly related to women. Of course, we celebrate women because it's a woman whom God has given the opportunity to multiply, to bring the multiplication in this world. We are so blessed to be called women. And we would like to continue to say, let's celebrate, enjoy yourselves this month of August, but don't forget who you are. Don't lose yourself in being celebrated. If they're not celebrating you, celebrate yourself.
Oh, yes.
If they're quiet about you, talk to yourself, but good self-talk. Avoid negative self-talk. We'll be with you next week, same time, same place. Have a blessed evening.
You will agree with me that we hardly celebrate women in music. When women are celebrated, you look at albums, most of them, women are in the background as backing vocalists. But Papa said, I want us to celebrate women who are in gospel music from the province of Limpopo, hence the name Limpopo Gospel Divas. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I officially unveil the lineup for the inaugural Limpopo Gospel Divas 2022.
Bold Moves Foundation celebrate women in style as they bring you the first annual Limpopo Diva concert, Saturday, the 20th of August, 11 o'clock sharp at Farm Life. Come and enjoy live performances dished out by our very own divas. Matabo, Nunki Koma, Kawelo Kekana, Newi, Cairo, Tusonel, Refilondo, Shibul Mulomo, and many more. Powered by Bold Moves Radio and Sampra.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Streaming 24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika, nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika, nakupenda sana.